Welcome back to r/Neighbors from Hell, where people share stories about their stories. The first one is titled HOA Grass Gestapo fined me $30,000 for tall grass and is trying to steal my home. I swear, the HOA in my neighborhood and all of their friends are absolutely crazy. If you think that statement is a little extreme, I want to introduce you to some of the key characters of this story. First of all, the HOA are more than well known for fining people and wanting everything exactly the way they like it. Next is the group of people that I will refer to as the Grass Gestapo. Now, I have heard that in some areas the HOA uses the dues that they get to hire something like a security patrol car or something along those lines. I want to make it clear that I have no objection to using HOA money to do something to benefit everyone else. And by the way guys, if I would live in a crazy HOA neighborhood and they have something like security or whatever, I would be really disappointed if the security patrol car is not a golf cart. Because that is the ultimate douchebag mobile for HOA busybodies. Anyway, what they did though was hire some of their friends using HOA funds and having them drive around for what they claim is safety, but is actually just trying to catch people in violation of the HOA rules. The thing is, I don't really hate rules. In fact, I'm someone that is usually in favor of them. Call me old-fashioned, but I like that there is a rule that loud parties need to stop at 11 PM or that you cannot pile trash in your yard. Rules like that make total sense to me, but it is when you start to try and use the rules as a way to get more money that is where I draw the line. If a party ends 1 minute after 11, should they really get fined? Are a couple of items that fell from your trash bin really considered worthy of getting in trouble? Personally, I don't think so, and my story falls along the lines of this. The reason that the group is more known as the Grass Gestapo is because the most common type of violation that they will get people on is the length of your lawn. Again, I agree that something being crazy overgrown should not be allowed, but that is not all what they do. They go around with measuring tape and note exactly how long the grass is and if they can find someone for it. I know it sounds like the craziest thing ever, and one of the only reasons I still live here is because moving can get really expensive and was not worth it. Only once did I have an encounter with these people, and by the rules they were only allowed to give me a warning and a day to fix the violation. Then a personal tragedy hit and my mom got sick. I went to her house to spend her last minutes with her and take care of things. I was a mess, and honestly nothing else in my mind mattered, so when I got home I really did not expect what I saw. I was gone for a couple of months in total, and technically I did hire somebody to take care of my lawn and house. He ended up quitting suddenly and left me that notice in my mailbox, so I had no idea. My grass was longer than even I would have wanted it, but it was not crazy tall. My mailbox was overflowing with letters from the HOA fining me and the exact measurements of my grass. The fine started when it was only 1/4 of an inch too tall and came daily after that. After looking through it all, I found the most recent letter that told me I owed a total of $30,000 in fines and I had a week to get it to them. I could not believe this on top of everything else, and I almost just fully fell apart. I am a pretty average person, and as such I don't have that kind of money just laying around for a rainy day. I wanted to get this fixed and thought that maybe I could just talk to the HOA and explain the situation. It was not like I did this on purpose or anything. I could mow it myself in a day, no problem. They did not want to listen to anything I had to say, and once I told them that I didn't have that kind of money, they got extremely nasty. They told me that if they didn't get the money one way, they would do it another way and foreclose my house to get it. I really had no clue what to do, so I just hired a lawyer who told me that I needed to present my case to the judge who would decide from there. I lost my mother and I did not want to lose a place to live after all of that. He was confident that I had a strong case though, and after a long wait and getting constantly told that I was going to lose my house, I got my day in court. I told the judge everything, even the stuff that did not matter, like why I was gone for 2 months. Most importantly, I brought the letter of resignation that the guy who was supposed to mow my lawn left me, which was dated. The HOA obviously said that it did not matter because the lawn was too long and I had to pay the daily fines for it no matter what. That was when I learned though that the rules of the HOA have certain loopholes and contingencies that don't usually apply when something gets to this point. I was not a lawyer and did not understand all of it, but I will explain it the best I can. There was a writing in the bylaws about things like intent and negligence. Basically, if someone grew their grass out on purpose or even if they knowingly neglected it, they could be in this situation. I did everything I was supposed to though, and had proof that I did not knowingly neglect it because I did hire that guy. Despite the fact that I couldn't argue that my grass height did not go against the HOA rules of how tall it can be, I still had a way out of it. The judge agreed that there was no way of me knowing it was being neglected, and I made what was called a reasonable effort to follow the HOA rules. In the end, the fines went away and the HOA was not allowed to foreclose on my house in order to get that money. It was not only a good outcome for me, but also an unexpectedly good one for other people. I made sure to share this loophole, which basically stopped the grass Gestapo from getting to fine people for these tiny stupid things. They would argue that it did not fall under intent or neglect, so they wouldn't be paying the fine for it. The HOA was so angry at me for this, and I really only had one thing to say to them. They should have listened to me in the first place instead of trying to fight me, because now they lost everything. I know that I could have tried getting them shut down for misuse of HOA funds or something, but I just wanted to be left alone to mourn. My theory is without the extra income from the fines, they won't last long anyway. And yeah, Ripe Stars, if you have ever lived in an HOA neighborhood yourself and have some stories to share, then please feel free to do so either in the comments or on r/ripestories on Reddit, where you can post your own stories and there is a good chance that I will read them in a future video. Thank you so much, and while you're at it, I would also appreciate it if you could post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. The next story is titled "Neighbors Called Law Enforcement and Instantly Regret It." My husband, male 43, and I, female 30, recently moved into a house that was previously owned by his parents. The neighbors, we will call the couple JK, on one side were friends with his folks. Small description of the layout: our garage door points to the side, so it points towards JK's house. It happens that their bedroom window is facing the garage door. Above our garage door is a small light that illuminates our driveway. Both my property and my neighbors are on a full acre in the county, outside the city limits. They have complained about that light since his parents owned the place. They have complained about quite a few things since we have moved in, and for the first bit we tried to be considerate. The motion light was a big one that they would constantly bring up, saying it was shining in their bedroom window. We had a large pine tree that blocked it for a while on our side of the property line. JK came to us asking to cut down the tree because the overhanging branches were making it difficult to pull vehicles through on their property. In an attempt to be good neighbors, we agreed. So they cut the tree down, but in doing so they left the trunk, saying it was on us to deal with it, but because the tree was cut down, now they are complaining more about the light. We have not allowed that to make us change it. So they've decided to put up a privacy fence. Okay, sure, it means we have less to deal with from them. This winter there have been a number of reports of people stealing things from cars. And on top of that, we got chickens. So we set up a ring camera/motion light that faces the back of the property. The light only comes on when someone is in the driveway or near the chicken coop. But by pointing it at the back of our house, their window is also in the path of the light. It is just in the French view of the camera, so I cannot imagine that much light is getting in. And with the angle, it is also on our bedroom window, almost directly. It has not troubled us at all since we installed it. It had been in there for 3 days when we got a text from JK, saying challenge accepted and threatening to get the brightest light they can find and point it at our window. A hollow threat, there is no way they could. Now it has been a little over a month. The neighbor was true to his word and put a light on a 12-foot pole with a light on top. I took pictures. It is right up against a fence he built, pointing directly onto our property. He did his best to angle it in our window, but missed, not that we told him that. It did not really trouble us. He took it down about 4 days later, never saying a word. Then they called the sheriffs on us. After sending progressively more aggressive and insulting text messages, always from the husband, Jay, they resorted to calling law enforcement. The officers showed up, very polite, and we talked with them, showing them the light in question. They agreed that its placement was fine. We mentioned the text messages and the officers asked to see them. My husband showed them his phone and the officers' entire demeanor changed. They apologized for interrupting dinner and said they would go next door and talk to the neighbors. We got a text the next day from the wife, Kay. It was finally what we wanted. According to her, she knew nothing about her husband's behavior. She had been out of town when he put up the spotlight and made him take it down when she got home, so she didn't know about the text messages he had been sending. The sheriffs told them both that my husband and I have enough to make a real harassment case against them. She would like a chance to talk face to face. She spoke with my husband today and it genuinely seems sorted. Who would have thought them calling the police would actually help us? And yeah, Ripe Stars, I gotta say that was quite the turn and not exactly what I expected, but it is always good to see how quickly situations with awful neighbors can turn around. But once again, I gotta say, I am really happy that once again I am not faced with any awful neighbors so far at least. However, there is a house next to us in the neighborhood where no one has moved in yet, so there is still the chance for some neighbors from hell action, but I hope that won't be the case. The next one is titled Respect the Boundaries. We bought a house that was neglected and had to regrade the whole front yard. The neighbor lady came out while the landscapers were there and placed small boulders in a line and then told us that was the property line. My partner had been planning to order a survey anyway, which he did because she seemed a bit off and we wanted to be sure this was correct. It was not the first time she had come out and told us what she expected, in other words, our yard. The survey found the neighbor had unwittingly stolen about 15 feet of our yard and put in very nice landscaping and a short zip line for their kids. It is not a part of the yard we can conveniently use because of a tree line, but we were concerned about liability if their kids got hurt and told them we would need to talk to an attorney about it. They then pulled up the survey stakes, which led to some strong words between my partner and the man, and then we got an erratic single-spaced letter from the woman in our mailbox saying we should let her keep the land because she needed it when she was pregnant, among other things, and now she cannot sleep at night. They offered us $4,000 for it and we countered at $10,000. No agreement was reached because the paperwork with the county would have been another $10,000 and it was just too expensive to manage. After talking with 2 real estate attorneys, we had to ask them to move the zipline. There was no way to avoid liability if a neighbor kid were to be injured. They could waive liability, in other words, their kids, but not on behalf of others. Apparently, now it is on. We get snotty texts saying they are going to dig up the landscaping and let the strip go wild, which is fine. They reported us for where our new generator is located. Apparently, the company did not know the local zoning and is going to redo it. It is all stupid and now we live next door to an erratic family who hates us. Whee! The next one is titled Never Steal From Me. We own a townhouse. Each one has a small backyard and most owners have decks and/or fenced-in patios. The previous owners built an amazing deck and patio, which is great because we cannot even make weeds grow. Among the plants, we have a pear tree, 2 apricot trees, raspberry shrubs, grapevines and blueberries. Apricots are currently in season, so our trees are loaded with fruit and the branches hang over the fence from the houses. There is no sidewalk and the grass is common community property. Okay, that's enough background. So I was outside this afternoon harvesting fruit and trimming the branches that hang over our fence. This is a job I very much enjoy because the fallen fruit have fermented and the local wasps are drunk. Watching those angry little a-holes take off to sting me only to fall face first back into the grass is just the best, and I'm usually laughing like an absolute idiot while doing this chore. So here I am, mid-trim, when I hear the screeching common to a certain kind of lady with a certain kind of haircut. I turn to see a Karen stomp her way through the grass in my direction. Karen, stop doing that at once. Me, confused silence. Karen, stop stealing my fruit. I am trimming my trees.
No, you're not. This is my house and my tree. You're damaging it and you don't have permission.
I think you're mistaken. This tree is in my backyard and I'm trimming it to keep it healthy and I am harvesting my fruit. Karen, upon realizing that I do in fact live there, or maybe just realizing that she doesn't,
This is a public area. You cannot just take all the fruit. They are for everyone.
well, as long as you don't damage my tree, you are welcome to take any fruit hanging over the fence, but so are all of the people who live here.
Whatever. You don't tell me what to do with community property. I'm on the HOA.
Me? Sure thing. She is not on the board and I've never seen her in a meeting. She is also not one of my neighbors, so I honestly have no idea what she thought she was accomplishing. Well, I'm done. See ya. I went back in my gate to my house and made some frickin' delicious preserves. Am I the a-hole for frightening a snooping neighbor by opening my door and causing her to fall? I, 33 female, live alone in a pet-friendly building, no breed restrictions, apartment building, renting in a US city that has significant crime. Our building has 2 on the first floor, 2 on the second floor and 1 on the third. I live on the 3rd floor, I don't share a landing with any of my neighbors and anyone coming up to the 3rd floor is coming there for me. We don't have a secured gate or a front door to the building. I have a 40-pound dog, not aggressive in the slightest, does not have a leash aggression, does not resource guard. She does have one guarding tendency and due to where I live alone, I fostered this. She will bark at the door when someone is outside, she is part hunting hound so she has a very big vocal howl bark. I've always found this comforting because I will always know if someone is coming when I'm not expecting anyone. Sometimes people will come up to lurk on my landing who have no business being there and my dog will scare them away. She also lets me know when deliveries have been dropped off. A downstairs neighbor, 45 to 50 female from the first floor, has been up on my landing several times. She will sometimes bring up packages or mail if it is left downstairs, which is nice, but I've seen her through the peephole lurking around without anything to leave for me. One time she moved my doormat. She has seen me walking my dog several times. Outside of my apartment, my dog is all wax. She asked several times where my other aggressive dog is because she's been up to my landing and heard my dog's big barks. I have told her each time that I only have one dog and that she simply sounds only aggressive at the door. She hasn't stopped asking about my other dog though. Last week, my property manager emailed about reports that I may have 2 dogs, which is fine, just to let them know because they want to know how many animals are in the building. I wonder how they get this report. Today my neighbor was on my landing again. From my peephole I saw her bending down in front of my door but couldn't tell what she was doing. So I swung my door open with my dog standing beside me, loudly barking. She got spooked from the noise and fell on her ass because she was leaning down to look under my doormat again. I said, "See? Just one dog, like I told you." Then I realized she may have injured herself when she fell and offered to help her up, but she just stormed off calling me an a-hole and witch and said the building was better before I moved in. I have lived here for 5 years, this is the first time I am having this issue. My sister told me I'm an a-hole because I could have given the woman a heart attack by frightening her. I kind of see her point, however, I did not know she was going to fall over. I still don't know what she was doing on my landing. Other tenants have dogs too, and you can hear all the dogs barking anytime a delivery car pulls up. I always considered it the price of a pet-friendly apartment. And guys, please let us know in the comments what you think about this story. Do you think that OP is the a-hole or not? Anyway, a user in the comments said, "Sounds like she is looking for a key to try to get in and wants to know about your dog so she can know if there is one if she possibly broke in. I would get a camera ASAP and talk to your landlord about your concerns through email so it is documented." Another user said, "Not the a-hole, your dog barked. You opened your door, she was frightened not because you opened your door, but because she was snooping in a place she had no business." And the next one is titled, "Am I the a-hole for getting my neighbor evicted over them smoking pot in the main hallway? I live in 2A and I have 3 kids, 16-month-old and 3-year-old twins. I am 29 female and recently my neighbors from 2B have been smoking pot in the hallway right outside our doors. I actually didn't mind or complain at first because I could just put something in front of my door to block the smoke from entering my apartment, and they appeared to be really decent people. We never had any issues. However, last week I went to leave my apartment with my 3 young babies and they were sitting directly beside my door smoking. I don't have a back door unless I use the fire escape and cannot pull down those steps without physically going outside. Which I cannot because I'm not leaving my 3 young babies upstairs unattended. When I saw them, I asked them to go outside with it or into their apartment because I didn't want my kids inhaling it. They were like,
"Yeah, sorry, no problem,"
and took it into their apartment, so I thought the issue was cleared up. However, that night I was sitting out on the fire escape reading a book after my babies went to sleep and I heard the neighbors from 2B talking because their window was open. They were saying things like,
"F that witch. How funny would it be if we just like hotbox the hallway?"
They were giggling, obviously high. I thought it was just talk because I have obviously smoked before and said I was gonna do some stuff but never followed through, so I didn't pay much attention. 3 days ago I wake up to my apartment smelling like I had just smoked 3 blunts back to back at like 5 AM. I hear them outside my door, so I rip it open to find one of them laying on their stomach and blowing smoke directly under my door frame. He jumped up and ran. I called the landlord and explained the issue. They had an eviction notice on their door this morning and started freaking out and asking each other why the F they were being evicted because they have paid all their bills. Am I the a-hole for getting them evicted? And a user in the comments said, "Not the a-hole, you tried to handle it reasonably, they escalated, you didn't ask for eviction, that was the landlord's choice." And another user agreed, he said, "Yep, they got them evicted, not you. Antagonizing your neighbors is always a crap thing to do, and that is what they were doing. I enjoy a good talk myself, but it doesn't take a whole lot to realize not everyone wants to smell that and to do it in a way that won't bother others." And guys, as usual, I would love to hear from you what you think about this story, so please let us know in the comments whether you think OP is the a-hole or not.
And yeah guys, I just wanted to show you how it looks like when I wake up in the morning and come to visit Disney. She's usually very excited. Let's see where she is. Disney! Let's see. Don't go out, Disney. Where are you going? She has her own will. She want to go to my room. No, Disney cannot go to my room, no? She just slept, that's why she has this black stuff in her eyes. Oh. Why now she wants to go down? Oh. No. Don't go down. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you again tomorrow.
And Ripe stars, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you still cannot get enough of my content, then I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will soon show up in the left corner of the screen. In addition, I would really appreciate it if you could not only subscribe to the channel, but also turn on the bell notifications, which you can do by clicking on the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. This will help my channel tremendously and this will make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. Furthermore, if you want to see additional Ripe content that I don't post on YouTube, then I would suggest to head on over to patreon.com/RipeYouTube for more than 50 exclusive videos that you will not see anywhere else. Thank you so much for your amazing daily support and I hope to see you again tomorrow.